Alright guys, so I have two of these for a reason. I like never ever buy two of the same blade because I'd rather have the diversity, but at the price of Moras are really cheap. You know, they can be $9 up to about $90, a little bit more, depending on what you're getting. But for these synthetic types, they are really the best bang for the buck out there. And so they're both stainless blades. They're the same knife. It's the Mora Kansbol. But I liked this one enough that I went ahead and got a second one. And this is the shed knife. This one does a lot of work. I keep it out in the shed, and it's for fire starting, a little bit of wood processing, feather sticks, cutting up things or junk materials. And so it's really easy to resharpen. I've loved the profile. It's been heavily used and abused. I've taken it on quite a few trips actually, and you can actually tell that the handle has held up just fine. I've hammered on the pommel. It's been hit pretty hard, baton both ways, and it's great. The only thing was it did bend a little bit towards that really thin tip, but I would not add any thickness to this. You know, the tang comes about back to here anyways. It's perfectly strong for me. It might as well be a full tang. That's what I consider it, almost a full tang, and it strikes a fire steel really well. But that thinness contributes to a few things. It does strike a fire steel really well because there's a little flex in there, so it kind of flings things well. And then also for slicing like vegetables or meat and stuff like that, you do notice a difference between these grinds. So between here and then here, you're going to see a difference because of that thinness, and also it's not a true Scandi up here, especially the fact that I've reground this several times. So if you're really like just true to keeping things 100% Scandi, this is not going to be a knife for you. But for me, I didn't mind having something with kind of a complex grind, and that is exactly what this is. As a complex grind, you probably won't be able to reestablish it exactly the way that it comes from the factory, but I've kept things for the most part maybe Scandi vexed right in here as I've worn it down, and I've used a work sharp and a stone both multiple times, and it's still mostly Scandi there. It's great for woodworking altogether. It's pretty much the most functional blade that I have, and it's like a $30 knife at the most, really. So this I've had for quite a while now. It's been on the channel. You've probably seen it for years, and it's held up awesome. So I decided to get a second one. That one will stay in the shed, and this one will come with me. I like orange. There's a little comparison. This is the Cold Steel Ultimate Hunter in a bright hunter orange. It is really truly bright. And then this is the Mora in a burnt orange. So it's got that drainage hole, lanyard hole kind of deal here. You could definitely wear it as a neck knife if you wanted to. I'll just tell you guys though that getting these things off is usually pretty tough. Snap into place like that. I usually throw it on a climbing rated carabiner, and sometimes I use it for hammocking or something like that to lighten my load down, and then just being a quick attach, it's very convenient. Then I have a fire steel on the back there. Anyways, that's probably one thing. Mora, you really should have had some sort of way to carry a fire steel on the sheath. It surprises me that Mora would not be that forward thinking. Even on the Garberg, it doesn't exist. That's probably something we're going to see in a 2.0 of this version. That would be my guess if Mora's thinking. Also a quick attach and detach method so that I don't have to carry something like this. Seems like that's something they should have done. But anyways, really happy with it. I love the sheath design. This is a really comfortable sheath for me because I can throw a bloody blade or a dirty blade right back in the sheath and wash both of them out. Very convenient. The handle scales don't attract a lot of garbage because there's not a lot of design in there. There's a little bit, and you have a lanyard hole, but other than that, it's very easy to clean out with just hot water, and it's a stainless blade, so it's extremely efficient for not staining and that kind of thing, even with blood. I've noticed that the stainless is a really high quality middle of the road stainless. It's not it's not high end, guys. They're not trying to do high end steel with that. I think if you need a better steel, you would have to go towards that Garberg. But for me, I wanted something that was easily resharpenable. I take it with a trip and just a stone in my pocket, or even a ceramic rod, usually graphite rod first, and this sharpens right back up. It came from the factory insanely sharp. Like you touch your arm with it and the hair is cut off. You don't even realize it. You just touch it. Extremely sharp. They did a good job with this. Spine is super sharp. It's got a nice flex to it. You know, I'm going to be a little more careful with this one on batoning because I did see that I was able to bend just this last portion in the past. But grip feels very good. You know, when you get it, it's going to come a little bit oily from the factory, just some of those residues from the factory, so you wipe that off, and then it's ready to go. Very, very comfortable. It's going to pop out in the winter and in the summer. Easy to find. There's a little comparison between those two. Obviously, the Ultimate Hunter has a broader blade for skinning, caping, that kind of thing. I would have liked to see a broader blade on this, but as it is, it's just fine. The handle is perhaps a little broader this direction, but then when you look at the thickness here, the Kansbol definitely wins out. It's got a nice thick handle, very comfortable. Ultimately, you could take these two into the woods, and one could be a meat knife and one could be a general utility knife, and these two would handle really, really well, and it's extremely light, guys. This is one of the lightest knives that I would actually endorse. Still does a lot of the tough work. I love it. It's pretty much right up my alley, and as long as you can deal with that complex grind, a little bit of logo work there, as long as you can deal with that and an average steel, this knife is a no-brainer. I recommend it above the other Moras by far.